Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, a nice little bonus video for everyone this week. As yesterday we got news, something that had been floating around in rumors for a little bit, but now was officially confirmed and announced that the Dallas Fuel will be playing out the 2023 season as a part of the Eastern Division and not the Western Division. So they're going to be moving to South Korea for the 2023 season, competing alongside the Seoul Dynasty, the Seoul Infernal, the Shanghai Dragons, Hangzhou Spark, Guangzhou Charge, and Chengdu Hunters for next season. So we keep that same 7-team group or number in the East and 13-team number in the West, just with different specifics. So I figured I'm just going to talk about it a little bit, give my thoughts on it. I'll link it to the video that the Dallas Fuel Twitter account posted in the description if you want to check that out. But I figured I'll just kind of talk about it and give my thoughts on it. Overall, I think if there was one team that I think moving was pretty unexpected and somewhat unfortunate, I would say it was Dallas Fuel. Obviously, coming off of their Grand Finals win, it would have been really, really cool, I think, to have them play locally. Again, they were the team that arguably did more than any other in terms of having in-person matches, especially in the Western region. And so, they had homestands, they had tournaments and stuff like that. So losing kind of the backbone of the Western region LAN scene is pretty, in my opinion, pretty unfortunate and pretty bad. It also, I think, stinks in the fact that, a lot of teams in professional sports will have kind of that first home game after they win a championship, and it's a big celebration of the team from the previous year where they hang the banner and stuff like that. And that's not going to realistically happen for the 2023 season, and maybe there is that kind of moment for the players that are still on the team getting to kind of celebrate in South Korea, in front of Korean fans. But I think it's unfortunate, especially when you consider kind of all the teams in the league. To me, Dallas was the one that did the best job cultivating and growing their local community and their local team. So I think it is unfortunate to see them leave the Western region, but here we are. They are moving east, so we're doing a little trade with the Valiant come back west and the Fuel go back east. In terms of like competition, competitive nature, all that type of stuff, I think Dallas should be one of the favorites in the Eastern region. We obviously don't know most of the rosters yet. We don't know, as of me recording this video, and maybe you're gonna get, it's not gonna be that long, but we don't know what Chengdu's roster looks like. We don't know what Shanghai's roster looks like. We have ideas for what Guangzhou looks like. We know what the Infernal look like. We don't know what the Dynasty look like. And we kind of know what by the time this video goes up, I'm sure we'll have pretty much the entirety of the Spark roster, if not the entirety of it in general. So we know what a lot of the teams look like in the Western region. We don't really know what a lot of teams look in the Eastern region. But based on kind of rumors and stuff like that, Dallas should absolutely be one of the favorites. I think when you consider what their roster is right now, I think that they probably will be one of the teams that qualifies for the mid-season tournament, and I think that's potentially why they moved. I know there's potentially other reasons as well, but there's a very real possibility that they looked and they said, look, the Western region is really, really tough. We're going to be making some budget cuts. We're going to be cutting back on our roster for next year. And maybe they looked and said, I think the thing we need to do is just move to the Eastern region. There's some uncertainty there. That means that the region is kind of open. We don't really want to have to compete with the Shock and the Gladiators and the Uprising and the Mayhem and the Reign and the Outlaws, all these other teams that look like they're getting really, really good, where there's going to be, in that midseason tournament, that's 6 teams, and I think it's 4-2. Like, there's more than 4 teams that are really, really competitively viable in the Western region. There might not even be 2 really good teams in the Eastern region. Who knows what it's going to be like. But I think the overall kind of idea is they probably have a higher chance of advancing through the Eastern region. So that was probably some of the consideration. I think a lot of it was probably just, it also probably saves them money to just compete in the Eastern region, because you don't have to deal with getting the players housing in the U.S. You don't have to deal with them, having to fly them into the U.S. and dealing with that. You can kind of keep them in Korea, and I don't know where they're going to put them. I'm sure they're going to have a facility where they all play together, but we don't know fully the details in the Eastern region yet. There's a possibility the teams are all going to be playing on a LAN somewhere. I really don't know how it's going to work. So who knows? But I think it's interesting, and I think the move is one that's kind of Going to be interesting to follow because I don't really know what to expect from a lot of the Eastern region teams. It's very open at this point in time. And I think Dallas really is just kind of looking at this as we need to make a move that's smart. I think a lot of people are pretty sure this is a move by Optic specifically. That Optic probably is trying to cut costs where they can, and so they just view this as the best option is we can retain some of these players, we can keep a lot of these pieces. Let's send them east where they will play in a much different environment. The players get to stay home more, which I'm sure is good for some of those players. And there's also a very real possibility this was the only way to keep some of those players, right? Maybe some of those players like, yeah, I kind of want to stay in Korea and play. And they knew that teams like Seoul and Shanghai, I keep saying Seoul, but the Dynasty and the Dragons, were kind of breaking, and there was a really very real possibility that they could kind of build a team elsewhere, right? They could probably look and say, we could probably put a team together with the Dynasty with some of the people we want to play with. And so maybe they said, hey, we want to keep you with the team. We want to keep you here. And we want to give you the ability to play in Korea for a year. Like that way we can kind of hold on to you. We get to keep kind of some of the pieces together. But we don't want to lose what we just, won a championship with because we still want to be competitively viable and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of possible reasons why this happened, but it's interesting. And I think it's one of those moves that I don't love that the Fuel are moving to the Western or to the Eastern region. It's nice because we're going to get to see the Dallas Fuel play against the Charge, who they've never beaten before, which I think is cool to see that kind of matchup again. We'll get to see them play against Chengdu and whatnot. So there's a lot of cool matchups that haven't happened in a long time because the regions have been split for a while. So in that way, I think it's nice. I do like when there's like one or two new teams in matchups. Like last year was the first time the Shanghai Dragons beat the Toronto Defiant because they haven't played them in a very long time. So like that was very, very cool to see. That was one of those things that I thought was really awesome. So we'll see what happens with this move. In the video, Hastro did specifically say that this is a move for 2023. It is not a long-term plan. They're not planning on changing from the Dallas Fuel, or they're not planning on keeping them there for a long time. It was just this is a this year plan, which I think makes sense when you consider kind of where this year is going. There's a lot going on. Obviously, there's the news about the Gladiators and the Guard and how they're trying to get rid of the team. The whole thing with China and NetEase really putting a wrench into things for the 2023 season. So this is kind of the reality we're living in now, which is that every season we're going to see stuff like this, I think. I think it's very possible that the league is in a very different place for the remainder of the future and just going forward. I think it's kind of a thing to expect stuff to be changing as time goes on, so who knows. But yeah, so Dallas Fuel, no longer the Western region. That changes things, of course, when it comes to power rankings and stuff like that. So we'll deal with that as it comes, but don't worry. We're going to keep on rolling. We're going to keep talking about the teams in the order that I plan on talking about them in, and then we'll kind of take a look at where things are when we actually get to the start of the season and kind of the end of all the rosters. That's it for this. Pretty short, simple video. Just wanted to kind of talk about where things are with this Fuel news. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video and would like it in the future, consider liking and subscribing. That's going to be all from me for today. Thank you all once again. Hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy. And until next time, bye-bye.